Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and a continuing series, The Translation Theater, where I take a look at some of my favorite or most important fan translations of all time. Today we're taking a look at probably one of the heaviest hitters around, and that is the fan translation from Starman.net of Mother 3. This is on par with Policenauts for just an incredible fan translation that brings an incredible game to a way bigger audience. Before we get too far involved, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well in the description. Now, I love Mother 3, and this fan translation is incredible. The only reason I put Policenauts over this is because I just kind of like Policenauts better. But as far as fan translations and how many people have played them, I would be surprised if this was not the #1 most played fan translation ever made. This translation is so incredible. I know it was made by fans, but this could have easily come out of Nintendo's translation division and been an official product. And of course, like everybody knows, Nintendo just refuses to give us things we want as fans. Mother 3's never been officially translated. So this translation gives us the culmination of this franchise, unless Nintendo for some strange reason decides to make Mother 4 moving forward. Fingers very, very much crossed for that. But that's why fan translations are so incredible, because Mother 3 is a 11 out of 10 role-playing game. Unless you don't like the graphical style, or unless you don't like the more comedic nature of this series, you are going to love this game if you have never played it. And the translation is incredible. It is very linguistic. It plays around with the language, it plays around with jokes, and it translates all those original Japanese jokes and kind of in references to things that we would understand completely. And that's what you want out of a fan translation. Not just a translation of a story, literally, but more of a conversational translation. Now, outside of the fact that we can play this game in English, this is a spectacular game in and of itself, and this game went through so much development hell. Maybe I'll do a video about Mother 3 in the future. This started life on the Super Nintendo, if you believe internet rumors. Then it went to the Nintendo 64 DD or disk drive. Previews were shown of this game in 3D, then it was moved to the Nintendo 64, canceled outright, and then moved to the Game Boy Advance. It had a long development history, and it is a great thing that we got it. And honestly, I like this graphical style more than what we were seeing on the Nintendo 64, so I'm not glad it happened, but I'm glad that we got it and it looks like this, because this looks just like a cleaner, more impressive version of Earthbound, and that game looks incredible in its own right. If I had to pick one game to play though, Mother 3 or Earthbound, I would say Mother 3. Leave me a comment down below, tell me why I'm probably wrong. I love Earthbound, but Mother 3, I think I just played it more as an adult and got more out of it than I got out of Earthbound when I originally played it. But here's a sad story. I had a complete big box Earthbound as a kid, and I probably traded it into EB Games for like $5 to play a PlayStation game. #1 trade I regret. But outside of fun anecdotal stories, without this translation, this game would be impossible to play. Sure, there might be a walkthrough telling you where to go and what to do, but you would understand absolutely nothing about the story, and this game exists for the story. As far as a role-playing game is concerned, you go from point A to point B, you have turn-based combat, you've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times. What makes Mother 3 incredible is the art style, the soundtrack, the storytelling. It's sum of its parts is greater than anything else I've ever played before as far as this kind of like goofy role-playing game is concerned. And like I said, no fan translation, no ability to play it, and that's why this is so epic. But I've talked about the graphics, I've talked about the translation. The soundtrack in Mother 3 is one of the best in gaming in my opinion, so go ahead and listen for like 35-45 seconds and I'll be right back. But enjoy, because it's good. It's hard to pin down exactly what genre that is. It kind of sounds like 1950s surf film music mixed with some B-52's kind of jazzy upbeat punk. I know that's probably not a genre whatsoever and I just made it up, but whatever genre it is absolutely incredible and the music just keeps getting better and better in this game. But what it's also amazing is the sprite work and the backgrounds. I've always loved how the Game Boy Advance looked. The graphical style was basically just two Super Nintendos duct taped together power-wise, and the art looks spectacular on this. And I am playing this on the MiSTer FPGA, and getting this on my 65-inch 4K looks incredible, because the first time I played this fan translation was on a Game Boy Advance with a flash cart. Sorry Nintendo, I had to because you refused to give this to us. But being able to play this from the couch is amazing and it's a whole new experience. Now, like I mentioned earlier with the combat, it is what you would expect it to be. It is turn-based, you have different weapons, you'll have different healing items, but if you've ever played a role-playing game before, you've seen the combat that Mother 3 gives you, but it's still good. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that it's not groundbreaking or earth-shattering. What is groundbreaking or earth-shattering is the story and the graphical style and the music and all the weird things that are going on in Mother 3. That's what I'm here for, and that's what you should be here for too. And I'm really surprised that Nintendo just doesn't do something like offer the makers of this translation some money so they can release it officially. I'm sure it's because Nintendo doesn't want to encourage projects like this, but Nintendo also didn't stop this project. They didn't send a cease and desist, and they don't ask for it to be taken down either. So it's almost like in some way Nintendo didn't want to bother to bring Mother 3 to English fans, but because somebody did it for them, they kind of just turned the other way and ignored what was happening, because Nintendo is famous for suing people. I'm not saying they're right or wrong to do that, I'm just stating the facts. Nintendo loves suing people when they think their IP is being tread on, and I understand that. I've taught intellectual property law and copyright law in college. I'm not a lawyer, never wanted to be one, but it's just something I dealt with in filmmaking. Copyright's important, so the fact that Nintendo let this happen kind of feels like a wink and a nod saying, no, don't do that, but we're not going to stop you because we know people really want it. But can we really complain? We get to play Mother 3 in English. Now, I wish Nintendo would do the right thing and re-release this game. Put Mother 3 on the Switch in full English. Give me a collector's box set. Redo the giant cardboard box from Earthbound and sell it as Mother 3. People would line up and buy that. I would buy a couple copies, one to open and another one to open because I don't like sealed games. I just keep two around in case something happened to the first one. I do not know why Nintendo is so resistant to bringing this game officially to the English language market, because this is obviously the #1 most requested game that people ask Nintendo to translate and bring over, so much so that it's become a meme at this point in time. But that's why I did this series in part. Because fan translations, fans modifying games, and fans keeping games alive that developers have abandoned is such a huge and important thing in game preservation and retro gaming. If people hadn't decided to translate Mother 3 over, this game would still be a mystery to most English language speakers. According to the internet and according to Starman.net, the script for this game was over 1,000 pages long. That is how much work they did to bring this to us. If there's ever been a textbook definition of labor of love, the Mother 3 fan translation would be in that definition with a photo of some of the translations on top of it. That's how important this is. But I've talked so much about why it's important, but back to the gameplay and the graphical style and the soundtrack, this is just such a fun, charming, and unique game. It is just something special. Games like this don't come around that often, and the Mother or Earthbound franchise is a really great time. And if you've never played these games before, believe the hype. They are as good as you think they are. Now, the NES version, or the Famicom version, because of course the original game wasn't translated officially either, you can kind of take it or leave it on that one. It's an excellent game. It gives you some backstory, but it's aged to the point where maybe that's not when you jump in. But if you want to play these games, you don't even really need to start with Earthbound. Just go and play them in whatever order you want. But believe the hype. They're as good as people say, and if you've never played them yet, you owe it to yourself to play them. And if you have, leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think. Do they live up to the hype to you? Do you think they're overhyped? Do you think they're underhyped? I'm always curious what you guys think, because I hate just talking into an echo chamber, which is my headphones at this point in time. The developers of Brownie Brown even programmed in the ability to pat the puppy, and that should be commended 10 out of 10 times. If you can pet the dog, that is going to be a good thing. You'll see we have this carrier pigeon at our door, and it is sending the letter that our wife was writing in the beginning of the prologue, and our wife and children are out in the woods somewhere, and we're not sure if they're safe. And this is just the prologue to the game. There's so many amazing areas in this game, so many amazing graphical styles and settings that I want to show you, but if you've never played this game before, I want to hide them from you so you can experience them yourself for the first time, because this game from start to finish is spectacular, and I didn't really want to spoil much of anything, and honestly, there are no spoilers in this video. I kept them down to a minimum, and you'll see there the cooking some of our favorite Chinese food. The game lets you put those elements in, it lets you name your characters, and I picked Chinese food as my favorite because it is. But one weird thing that I've been doing recently, and you tell me in the comments below if you do it, we're taking our dog Pip here on the quest. Pip is the name of our corgi that we unfortunately lost about this time last year to cancer at the age of 13. I know this is not my dog, I don't think it's the ghost of my dog, but there's something so reassuring of taking a dog named Pip with me on this quest as I play through the game again. I just love naming characters after people that might not be around anymore, because for some strange reason it makes me feel like in some weird way they are there at least for when I'm playing the game. Strange random aside, has something to do with translations, but I thought I would ask that question. But yeah, Mother 3, fan translation, 10 out of 10, as good as Policenauts. I like Policenauts slightly better, but this is an amazing work of love and you should play it. I'll be back next Tuesday with the translation. I'll see you guys next time, but yeah, play Mother 3. Bye-bye.